You know, when you get those first warm days of the year where the temperature is up, becomes very mild, and there's some warmth in that bright orange thing in the sky. Well, today's one of those days, by far the warmest day of the year. So I'm on my way quickly, while there's still some warmth in that sun, to check to see if any oil beetles could possibly have made it out this early. This would be the earliest date ever that we have for oil beetle in Nottinghamshire. It remains doubtful despite the warm sunshine, but old adage, if you don't look, you don't find out. Well, this stretch of path behind me, certainly at one time to the trees that meet further down the path, it's always been the area where oil beetles have predominantly been, although they have spread over the years. I will have a look down here just to check, and it'll be along the fence line that you can see on the left of the screen. But before I get to that, there's one usual place where I almost annually get the first and early oil beetle, and that's just over there. There's a couple of banks over there. I was successful last year, but last year it was the 15th of February when I found them, but today is the ideal day. It really is. If I was to find oil beetles today, it would break the earliest recorded date for oil beetles here on Budby South Forest by about 14 days, and that's what I like to do. I always like to beat my earliest or latest dates of many species, oil beetle being one of them. I tend to always check these banks where the area of heathland was scraped up to create some bare ground habitat, but also to create some beetle banks or solitary bee banks. And I check these first because these are the warmest spots. South facing, even with a light breeze today, it is mild, so they will be sat in the grass, just soaking up the sun more than likely. May well be feeding, but we're very likely too early. This is, say, a fortnight earlier than what I've normally found them on. No guarantee of success. But the two banks that were formed by two scrapes here have deteriorated in terms of their likely use by oil beetles, and that's because they are now, as you can see, completely overgrown by bracken. The bracken is dead. There's also bramble developing as well. The interesting thing is that there's no other bracken around here apart from 20 so yards to my left and to the left of screen, but the bracken has now shaded out the grass which oil beetles like to graze on. They like to graze on fairly coarse grasses usually, and so they're gradually becoming less suitable for what these banks were intended for. Well, I have been pretty much as far as you can see down this path and look to either side. I've checked where the sun can get to the grass and warm the grass and the ground up, because that's inevitably where any early oil beetles will be. They like to be tucked up in the shelter or the lee of any of the heather, especially if it's breezy, and at times today it is quite breezy. I think there's one out somewhere. It's where it will be, so I will go back and check the banks that I looked at a little while ago, because you never know whether one will have appeared and be sat out in the sun. But there's no sign along the side of the fence here. May well be too early, but you just don't know. Well, 2nd of February and no joy regarding any early oil beetle. And apparently this is as warm or as mild as it's going to get, to be honest, because it seems like some more cold weather is on the way, which you can expect. February can be a very up and down month. So we'll see and come back up here when conditions are next suitable, and it'll probably be after the incoming possible cold spell that they're forecasting. But I've seen my first bumblebee today, a Bombus hypnorum, a rather small queen Bombus hypnorum, to be honest, but she came out of leaf litter at the base of some heather. So that's my first bumblebee of 2024. Always nice to see. I do love a bumble, me.